My sister stole my fiancé and married him because he had potential. Years later, she lost everything, and I have the life she wanted. The thing is, I never saw it coming. Brett and I had been together since college, one of those comfortable relationships where everyone assumes you'll get married. He was studying business, had big dreams about starting his own company, but zero capital and mountains of student debt. I didn't care. I loved him. My sister Vanessa was always the golden child. Prettier, smarter, more ambitious. She worked in finance and lived in a penthouse our parents helped pay for. When Brett and I got engaged, she seemed genuinely happy. She even offered to help plan the wedding. I should have known better. It started small. She'd text Brett directly about wedding vendors. She'd invite him to networking events, saying his business ideas were brilliant. I thought she was being supportive. I was an idiot. 6 weeks before our wedding, Brett sat me down and said the words that shattered everything. I can't marry you. I'm in love with Vanessa. My brain couldn't process it. He kept talking, explaining how Vanessa understood his ambitions in ways I never could, how she believed in his potential and was willing to invest in his dreams, how I was holding him back. They got married 4 months later. Vanessa wore my dress, the one we'd picked out together. Our parents attended. They told me I needed to be mature about this and move on. Family is family, after all. I moved across the country to Denver and started over. I took a job as a legal assistant and enrolled in night classes. It was brutal and lonely, but something shifted inside me. Without Brett's constant dismissal and Vanessa's shadow, I discovered I was actually capable. 3 years later, I'd worked my way up to senior paralegal at a prestigious firm. I met Cameron at a conference. He was a partner at a competing firm, brilliant and kind, with zero interest in using people as stepping stones. We got married a year later. Meanwhile, Vanessa had invested her entire savings into Brett's startup. She'd quit her finance job to be his CFO, convinced they'd be millionaires within 5 years. The company was struggling. Brett was terrible with money and even worse with people. Last month, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. It was Vanessa. Her voice sounded hollow, defeated. The company had collapsed. Brett had been secretly gambling their remaining funds and racked up $200,000 in debt. He'd disappeared 2 weeks ago, leaving her with nothing. She'd lost the penthouse, her savings, everything. She was living in our parents' basement. I need help, she whispered. I know I don't deserve it, but you're the only person who understands rebuilding from nothing. She paused. I was so wrong about everything. About him. About you. I sat there in my beautiful home, looking at the life Cameron and I had built, and felt absolutely nothing. No anger, no satisfaction, just emptiness where my sister used to be. She kept talking, apologizing, begging. Could I help her get a job? Any job? That's when Cameron walked into the room and saw my face. He mouthed, "Who is it?" I looked at him, then back at the phone where Vanessa was still pleading. I had a choice that would define everything. I opened my mouth to respond, but before I could speak, my phone buzzed with a second call. It was our parents. I stared at both lines ringing and suddenly understood exactly why they were calling together. I clicked over to my parents. Mom didn't even say hello. "Your sister needs you. We're all meeting at the house tomorrow at noon to discuss how we're going to help her get back on her feet." Her tone was commanding, the same one she'd used when I was a child and expected to obey without question. "I'm not coming," I said quietly. "Excuse me?" Dad's voice cut in. He was on speaker. "This is family business. Vanessa made a mistake, but we support each other. Like you supported me when she stole my fiancé?" Silence. Then Mom sighed like I was being unreasonable. "That was years ago. You need to let that go. Look at you now. You're fine. You have a good job and you remarried. But your sister is suffering?" I laughed. Actually laughed. "I'm fine because I left. Because I built a life without any of you." "Don't be dramatic," Dad said. "We need you here tomorrow. Vanessa respects you. If you tell her to take the paralegal position at your firm, she'll listen." My stomach dropped. "What paralegal position?" "The one you're going to get her," Mom said, like it was obvious. "You have connections now. It's the least you can do." I hung up without responding. Cameron was watching me, concern written across his face. What did they want? I told him everything. About the call from Vanessa. About my parents demanding I help her. About their expectation that I'd hand her a job at my firm like I owed her something. Cameron listened without interrupting, the way he always did. When I finished, he was quiet for a long moment. "What do you want to do?" he asked. That was the thing about Cameron. He never told me what I should do. He asked what I wanted. It was such a simple thing, but after years of Brett dismissing my opinions and my family treating my feelings like inconveniences, it meant everything. "I don't know," I admitted. "Part of me wants to help her just to prove I'm the bigger person, but mostly I just want her to disappear. Then tell her no. It's not that simple. If I don't help, my parents will make my life hell. They'll call constantly, show up at our house, tell the whole family I abandoned my sister in her time of need." Cameron reached for my hand. "They'll do that anyway. You know that, right? Even if you get Vanessa a job, it won't be enough. They'll want more. They always do." He was right. I'd seen it my whole life. My parents' love came with conditions. Perform well, make them look good. Sacrifice your own happiness for the family image. I thought I'd escaped it when I moved to Denver, but the distance only worked because I'd had nothing they wanted. Now I had success, connections, a life they could exploit. I called Vanessa back. She answered on the first ring. "Did you talk to them? Are you going to help?" "No," I said. I'm not. Please. Her voice cracked. I know I don't deserve it, but I'm desperate. I can't find work anywhere. Every interview asks about the gap in my employment, and when I explain about the company failing, they look at me like I'm toxic. I need someone to vouch for me. You mean you need me to lie for you? I mean, I need a chance. Just one chance to prove I can do this. I thought about all the chances I'd given her over the years, the times I'd covered for her with our parents when she broke curfew, the homework I'd helped her with in high school, the way I'd included her in my wedding planning, trusting her completely. She'd taken every chance and used it against me. Find your own way, I said, like I had to. That's different. You had Brett. The audacity of it hit me like a physical blow. I had Brett? You stole him from me 6 weeks before our wedding. You would have been miserable with him. I did you a favor. I hung up. My hands were shaking. Cameron pulled me into his arms and I just stood there, trying to process the fact that Vanessa genuinely believed she'd done me a favor by destroying my life. The next morning, my parents showed up at our house. I was in the kitchen making coffee when the doorbell rang. Cameron answered it. I heard my mother's voice, sharp and insistent. We need to speak with our daughter. She doesn't want to see you, Cameron said calmly. This is family business. You don't get to keep us from her. I walked to the door. My parents stood on the porch, dressed like they were going to a business meeting. Mom had her arms crossed. Dad looked impatient. Behind them, Vanessa sat in their car, staring straight ahead. You need to leave, I said. Not until you agree to help your sister, Mom replied. This is ridiculous. She made a mistake. We all make mistakes. She didn't make a mistake. She made a choice. She chose to betray me, and now she's dealing with the consequences. Dad stepped forward. You're being selfish. Family means sacrifice. Your sister needs you. Where was this energy when I needed you? The words came out harder than I intended. Where were you when she stole my fiancé? When I had to cancel a wedding and move across the country because I couldn't stand living in the same city as her? You told me to get over it. You went to her wedding wearing my dress and smiled for the photos. That's ancient history, Mom said dismissively. It's 3 years. That's not ancient, that's recent. You remarried. You're fine. I'm fine despite you. Not because of you. Cameron put his hand on my shoulder. A silent reminder that he was there. My parents noticed and their expressions hardened. They'd never liked Cameron. He was too protective of me, too willing to stand between us and them. If you don't help Vanessa, we're done, Dad said. You won't be welcome at family events. We won't be sending birthday cards or calling on holidays. You'll be dead to us. I looked at them, really looked at them. These people who were supposed to love me unconditionally but only loved me when I was useful. Who'd watched my sister destroy my life and asked me to move on, but now demanded I sacrifice my peace to fix hers. Okay, I said. We're done then. Mom's face went pale. You don't mean that. I do. You made your choice when you went to her wedding. I'm making mine now. I closed the door. Through the window, I watched them stand there in shock. Eventually, Dad grabbed Mom's arm and pulled her back to the car. Vanessa was crying. They drove away. Cameron wrapped his arms around me. You okay? Ask me in a week. The next few days were brutal. My phone wouldn't stop ringing. Aunts and uncles I hadn't spoken to in years called to tell me I was ungrateful and cruel. Cousins sent messages about family loyalty. My mother left voicemails that started with guilt and ended with rage. Through it all, Cameron was steady. He screened my calls, blocked numbers, and reminded me that I didn't owe anyone access to my life. His family, who'd welcomed me with open arms when we got married, rallied around us. His mother sent care packages. His sister invited us to dinner and never once mentioned my family drama. 2 weeks after I cut contact, I got an email from an address I didn't recognize. The subject line read, "You should know the truth." I almost deleted it, but something made me open it. It was from Brett. I'm sure Vanessa told you I disappeared with all the money. That's not what happened. The company failed because she embezzled funds to maintain her lifestyle. I found out 6 months ago and filed for divorce. She's been lying to your parents about everything. The debt isn't from gambling, it's from her spending. She maxed out credit cards buying designer clothes and jewelry to keep up appearances on social media. When I confronted her, she threatened to tell everyone I was abusive if I exposed her. So I left. I have proof if you want it. Bank statements, credit card bills, text messages where she admits what she did. I'm sending this because you deserve to know who she really is. You always deserved better than both of us. Attached were dozens of files. I opened them one by one. Bank transfers from the business account to Vanessa's personal account. Credit card statements showing purchases at luxury stores. Text messages between Vanessa and Brett where she admitted she'd taken the money and blamed him for not making enough to support her lifestyle. There was also a recording. I clicked play. Vanessa's voice filled the room. I married you for your potential, not reality. You were supposed to make me rich. Instead, you're a failure. So I took what I needed. You should be grateful I stayed this long. Brett's voice, tired and broken. You stole from the company. That's illegal. Prove it. Who will they believe? Poor Brett who couldn't make his business work, or successful Vanessa who sacrificed everything to support her husband's dream. I'll tell them you gambled it away. I'll tell them you hit me. I'll destroy you. The recording ended. I sat there, staring at my computer screen. Everything my parents had told me was a lie. Everything Vanessa had said was manipulation. She hadn't lost everything because of Brett's failures. She destroyed herself and blamed him. I forwarded the email to my parents without comment. Then I blocked them before they could respond. 3 days later, my mother showed up at my office. Security called to ask if I wanted them to send her away. I almost said yes. But curiosity won. She looked smaller somehow. Older. The confidence she'd always carried had crumbled. She sat across from my desk and didn't speak for a full minute. I listened to the recording. She finally said, "We confronted Vanessa. She admitted everything." I waited. "Your father and I made a mistake. We should have supported you when she married Brett. We should have believed you when you said she betrayed you. We chose her because—" She paused. "Because she was always the easy one. You challenged us. You asked questions. You had opinions. Vanessa did what we wanted without arguing. It was easier to love her." The honesty was startling and devastating. "You came here to tell me you loved my sister more because she was easier? I came here to apologize. And to tell you that we've cut Vanessa off. She's not living with us anymore. We told her to figure it out on her own. Where is she?" "I don't know. She left in the middle of the night, took what she could carry and disappeared." I should have felt satisfied, vindicated. Instead, I just felt tired. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because I hoped—" Mom's voice wavered. "I hoped we could start over. That you might forgive us." I looked at this woman who'd given birth to me but never really seen me, who'd chosen my sister over and over until the evidence of her true nature was impossible to ignore. "I don't forgive you," I said quietly. "Maybe someday I will, but not today. Not anytime soon." "What about holidays? Family gatherings?" "What family? You just told me you kicked Vanessa out. It's just you and Dad now. And I don't want a relationship with people who only value me when I'm convenient." Mom stood up. She looked like she wanted to say something else but decided against it. At the door, she turned back. "I know I don't have the right to say this, but I'm proud of you. The life you've built. The person you've become. You did that without us. Maybe despite us." After she left, I sat in my office for a long time. Cameron texted asking if I wanted to grab lunch. I met him at our favorite cafe and told him everything. He listened, held my hand across the table, and didn't try to fix anything. "How do you feel?" he asked. "Relieved, I think. It's over. I don't have to wonder anymore if I'm the bad guy for walking away." "You were never the bad guy." A month passed. I threw myself into work. Cameron and I started looking at houses outside the city. We talked about starting a family, about building something that was completely ours. Then Vanessa called from a number I didn't recognize. "Before you hang up," she said quickly, "I just need 5 minutes." Against my better judgment, I listened. "I'm in therapy," she said. "Court-ordered, actually. I got arrested for check fraud. Mom and Dad refused to bail me out. My lawyer said the only way I'm avoiding jail time is if I can prove I'm getting help." "Why are you telling me this?" "Because my therapist says I need to make amends to the people I've hurt. And you're at the top of that list." I almost laughed. "Your therapist told you to call me?" "She said I need to own what I did. No excuses, no justifications, just the truth." I pulled into a parking lot and put the car in park. "Okay, tell me the truth." "I was jealous of you. My whole life, I was the pretty one, the successful one, the one everyone praised. But you were the one people actually liked. You had real friends. Brett loved you in a way he never loved me. I thought if I took him, I'd have what you had. But I couldn't. Because it wasn't about him. It was about you being genuinely kind and me being a performance." The words hung in the air between us. "I destroyed your wedding because I wanted to prove I could. I wanted to win. And when I realized I'd married someone who resented me for stealing him, who knew I was a fraud, I couldn't admit it. So I kept performing. I spent money we didn't have to look successful. I lied to Mom and Dad because I couldn't face the fact that you were right. About everything. Are you expecting me to forgive you?" I asked. "No. I'm expecting you to hate me. I hate me. I'm just telling you that I know what I did. I know I can't fix it. And I know I don't deserve your forgiveness." I should have felt triumphant. This was everything I'd wanted to hear. But instead, I just felt sad. Sad for both of us. For the sisters we could have been if she hadn't made everything a competition. "I hope therapy helps," I said. "I really do. But I can't be part of your healing. I need you to stay out of my life." "I understand." She hung up. And this time, I knew it was really over. 6 months later, Cameron and I bought a house with a big backyard. We adopted a dog. We hosted dinners with friends who felt more like family than my blood ever had. I got promoted to head paralegal. Cameron made partner at his firm. On our second wedding anniversary, we were sitting on our back porch watching the sunset when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. "Hello? Is this the sister?" A woman's voice, professional and detached. "Who is this?" "I'm calling from Denver General Hospital. Your sister Vanessa was brought in this evening. You're listed as her emergency contact." My heart stopped. "What happened?" "She was in a car accident. She's stable, but she's asking for you." I looked at Cameron. He could hear the conversation. He squeezed my hand but didn't tell me what to do. "I'll be there in 20 minutes. The hospital smelled like antiseptic and fear. A nurse directed me to Vanessa's room. She was lying in bed, bruised and broken, with her arm in a cast. When she saw me, tears started streaming down her face. "You came," she whispered. "What happened?" I fell asleep at the wheel. "I've been working 3 jobs trying to pay off the debt. I was so tired." She paused. "They said I'm lucky to be alive." I pulled up a chair. "Do Mom and Dad know?" I didn't call them. I couldn't. After everything, I couldn't face them again. We sat in silence for a moment. "Why did you list me as your emergency contact?" "Because even after everything I did, you're the only person I trust to show up." The irony of it wasn't lost on me. After destroying my life, abandoning me, choosing herself over me at every turn, She still believed I'd come, and I had. I can't be your person, Vanessa. I can't be the one you call when things fall apart. I know, but thank you for coming anyway. I stayed for an hour. I called her a cab to take her home when they discharged her. I made sure she had her pain medication and follow-up appointments. Then I left. Cameron was waiting up when I got home. How is she? Broken. In more ways than one. Are you okay? I think so. I went because it was the right thing to do. Not because I owe her. Not because we're family. Just because someone should show up when another person is alone and scared. That's very you, Cameron said, pulling me close. Is that bad? No, it's why I love you. That night, lying in bed next to my husband in the house we'd chosen together, I realized I'd finally let go. Not forgiveness exactly, but acceptance. Vanessa was who she was. My parents were who they were, and I was who I was despite all of them. I'd built a life they couldn't touch. A life filled with people who chose me not because of obligation or guilt, but because they genuinely wanted me there. That was worth more than any revenge could ever be. My phone buzzed. A text from Vanessa. Thank you for tonight. I know I don't deserve your kindness. I won't bother you again. I just wanted you to know that watching you walk away all those months ago was the wake-up call I needed. You were right about everything. I'm sorry I had to lose everything to see it. I read it twice, then deleted the thread. Not out of anger, just out of necessity. Some chapters need to close completely before new ones can begin. 3 years later, I was pregnant with our first child. Cameron and I were painting the nursery yellow when my phone rang. I almost didn't answer, but the area code was local. Hello? Hi, this is Patricia from Morrison & Associates. I'm calling because we're conducting a reference check for Vanessa Mitchell. She listed you as a professional reference. I sat down on the floor, paintbrush still in hand. She what? She's applying for a junior paralegal position at our firm. She mentioned she did some informal training under your guidance? I could have ended her chances with one sentence. Could have told them the truth about who she really was and what she'd done. Part of me wanted to. But I thought about the woman in the hospital bed, broken and alone, about the therapy she'd committed to, about the 3 jobs she'd worked to pay off her debt, about the fact that she'd survived all of it and was still trying. Vanessa worked under extremely difficult circumstances, I said carefully. She made significant mistakes early in her career, but she took full responsibility for them. She's persistent, detail-oriented, and capable of growth when properly supervised. If you're willing to give her a structured environment with clear expectations, I think she could be successful. That's very helpful. Thank you. After I hung up, Cameron looked at me with raised eyebrows. Did you just give your sister a reference? I gave an honest assessment. What they do with it is their choice. You're a better person than I am. No, I'm just tired of carrying it. Vanessa got the job. I know because she sent one text. Thank you, I won't waste it. I didn't respond, but I didn't block her number either. Sometimes I wonder if she's doing okay, if therapy helped, if she ever found whatever she was looking for when she blew up both our lives. But I don't reach out. That door is closed but not locked, and that feels right. Now, when I look at the life I have, the husband who sees me, the child we're preparing for, the career I built from nothing, I don't see it as something that happened despite Vanessa. I see it as something that happened because I chose myself when no one else would. That's the real difference between us. She spent her life chasing other people's versions of success. I built my own. And in the end, that's the life she wanted. She just never understood that you can't steal it. You have to earn it. My daughter was born on a Tuesday morning in May. We named her Elena, after Cameron's grandmother. She had his eyes and my stubborn chin. Holding her in the hospital room, watching Cameron cry happy tears, I felt completely whole. Mom showed up on the 3rd day. I hadn't told her I was pregnant, but apparently news travels through family channels even when you've cut contact. She stood in the doorway holding a stuffed elephant, looking uncertain. Can I come in? I looked at Cameron. He shrugged. My choice. Always my choice. 5 minutes. She approached the bed slowly, like I might change my mind. When she saw Elena, her eyes filled with tears. She's beautiful. Thank you. I know I don't have the right to ask this, but I'd like to be in her life. I'd like to try to be the grandmother I wasn't as a mother. That's not a 5-minute conversation. I know, but I had to try. She set the elephant on the side table. Your father and I are divorced. Have been for a year. He couldn't handle what we'd done to you. Couldn't live with the guilt. I'm in therapy now. Learning to be better. It's too late for us, I know that. But maybe it's not too late for her. I looked down at Elena, sleeping peacefully in my arms. Innocent. Untouched by all the pain that came before her. Send me your therapist's information, I said. We can talk in a few months. No promises. Mom nodded, tears streaming down her face. Thank you. That's more than I deserve. After she left, Cameron kissed my forehead. You sure about that? No, but Elena deserves to know her grandmother if she can be healthy. And if she can't, we'll handle it together. Together, he agreed. The first year of Elena's life was chaos in the best way. Sleepless nights and explosive diapers and moments of pure joy that made everything else fade away. Mom sent cards every month. She never asked to visit, just let me know she was there if I wanted her. On Elena's first birthday, I called her. We talked for 2 hours. Really talked. About her marriage, her mistakes, her journey in therapy. She didn't make excuses or ask for forgiveness. She just shared where she was and asked where I was. I'd like to meet Elena, she said at the end. When you're ready, if you're ever ready. Next month. I heard myself say. You can come for dinner, just you, and just dinner. We'll see how it goes. She came bearing a homemade lasagna and more photos of me as a child than I knew existed. She sat on the floor and played with Elena, patient and gentle. Everything she hadn't been with me. Watching her, I saw glimpses of the mother she could have been. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but it was a beginning. Over the next 2 years, Mom became a regular fixture in our lives. She babysat when we had date nights. She taught Elena to bake cookies. She showed up to every birthday party and never once tried to overstep. One evening, after putting Elena to bed, she lingered at the door. I need to tell you something, she said. Vanessa reached out. She's engaged. To someone she met at her firm. She wanted me to ask if you'd be willing to meet him. My stomach tightened. Why? Because she wants your approval. She knows she doesn't deserve it. But she's trying to do things differently this time. She's been in therapy for 4 years now. She's paid off all her debts. She's building a real life. And you think I should meet them? I think you should do whatever feels right for you. I'm not here to advocate for her. I'm just delivering the message. I thought about it for days. Cameron listened to me work through every angle, every fear, every possibility. In the end, I agreed to coffee. Just coffee. Neutral territory. Vanessa walked in looking different. Smaller somehow. Less polished. More real. The man with her, Felix, was quiet and kind-eyed. They sat across from us and nobody spoke for a long moment. Thank you for coming, Vanessa finally said. I know this is weird. That's one word for it. She smiled sadly. Felix knows everything. About what I did to you. About who I was. I made sure he knew before we got serious. Why? I asked. Because I never want to be that person again. The one who hides and performs and lies to look good. I'd rather be alone than be fake. We talked for an hour. About her job, her therapy, her relationship with Felix. About how she'd rebuilt her life from nothing. About how she was learning to measure success by her own standards instead of everyone else's. As we were leaving, she touched my arm gently. I'm not asking to be sisters again. I know that ship sailed. I just wanted you to see that I'm trying. That your words, your example, they mattered. You showed me it was possible to start over and build something real. I nodded. I hope it works out for you. I really do. And I meant it. 6 months later, Elena started preschool. Cameron made partner. I was promoted to director of paralegals. We bought a bigger house and adopted a second dog. Life was full and messy and beautiful. One Saturday morning, I was at the farmer's market with Elena when I saw Vanessa. She was with Felix, picking out vegetables, laughing at something he said. She looked happy. Genuinely happy. Not the performed happiness from before, but something real and earned. Our eyes met across the crowd. She smiled. A small, uncertain thing. I smiled back. We didn't approach each other, didn't wave or try to chat, just acknowledged each other's existence and moved on. That night, tucking Elena into bed, she asked about the woman from the market. That's my sister, I said. I have an auntie? It's complicated, sweetie. Can I meet her? I thought about all the years of pain and betrayal, about the wedding that never happened and the life I'd built from the ashes, about the fact that Vanessa had genuinely changed, had done the work, had earned her second chance. Maybe someday, I said, when you're older and can understand the whole story. Okay, Elena said easily, already losing interest. Can you read me the princess book? I read her 3 chapters and kissed her goodnight. Downstairs, Cameron was making hot chocolate. You okay? He asked, handing me a mug. Yeah, I think I finally am. What changed? I stopped waiting for Vanessa to fix what she broke. I stopped needing her to be different. I just let her be a stranger who happens to share my DNA. That's very zen of you. I laughed. Therapy helps. So does having a life worth protecting. He was right. That's what it came down to. I built something precious and real. Something that couldn't be stolen or destroyed by someone else's choices. Vanessa had taken my fiancé and my family and my trust. But she couldn't take this. This life, this love, this peace. Those were mine. Years passed. Elena grew into a bright, opinionated child who asked a million questions and challenged everything. Mom became a fixture in our lives, present and supportive in ways she'd never been before. Dad sent cards sometimes. I never responded. Vanessa and Felix got married. Mom showed me pictures. They looked happy. I felt nothing. Not happiness for her, not anger, not satisfaction. Just neutral acceptance that she existed somewhere in the world, living a life that had nothing to do with me. On Elena's 6th birthday, we threw a party in our backyard. Cameron's family filled the space with laughter and chaos. Mom helped set up decorations. Friends from work brought their kids. It was loud and messy and perfect. In the middle of it all, watching Elena blow out her candles surrounded by people who loved her, I felt Cameron's arm around my waist. You did good, he whispered. We did good, I corrected. Because that was the real victory. Not that Vanessa lost everything and I won. Not that my parents finally apologized or that I got promoted or that I had the bigger house. The victory was that I'd found a partner who saw me as an equal. That I'd built a family based on choice and respect. That I'd learned to measure my worth by my own standards instead of everyone else's. Vanessa had stolen my fiancé because he had potential. But potential isn't the same as reality. She'd chased the fantasy of success and lost everything. I'd built the reality of happiness and gained everything. That night, after the party ended and Elena was asleep and the house was quiet, Cameron and I sat on the back porch like we did every anniversary. Do you ever regret it? He asked, walking away from all of them. Never. Not once. Even now, with Elena, don't you wish she had a bigger family? She has exactly the family she needs. The people who show up. The people who choose us every day. That's worth more than blood. He kissed my temple. I love you. I love you too. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I heard about Elena's party. I'm glad she had a good day. You're an amazing mom. V. I stared at it for a long moment, then deleted it without responding. Some doors stay closed. And that's okay. Because the life I wanted wasn't about revenge or proving anything to anyone. It was about this. Quiet evenings with my husband. A daughter who felt safe and loved. A career I'd earned. A home I'd built. Peace. Vanessa had wanted the life I had. But she'd never understood that you can't steal peace. You can't fake happiness. You can't perform your way into genuine love. You have to do the work. You have to choose yourself. You have to build it, brick by brick, from nothing. And in the end, that's exactly what I did.